Billy here with Gilbert Travels. Welcome to a really fun video. Today we're in my new studio and we're going to do a wrap-up of the 2020 Transcon Challenge. Have you been following along as I flew with Delta, United, American, and JetBlue these last 4 weeks and showed you their experience? Well, before we get into it today, why don't you head on down to the comment section and let me know who you think was the winner. But let's get in depth and let's take a look at today's video. First off, I'd like to thank everybody. I have surpassed 900 subscribers. I'm well on my way to 1,000, and I would really appreciate it if you've watched this content before or this is your first time and you haven't yet subscribed. Please head down there and hit subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can know when more content of mine is available. I also appreciate likes and love to get comments and have some back and forth with you down there in the comment section. So let me know what you think. I'll be happy to chime in. I'd also like to get some feedback on today's video here in the studio. Let me know if you'd like me to do some more content like this and bring you along maybe some more aviation news, some fun ideas. I've kind of wanted to do something like this for a while. Have a good bank of ideas, but start leaving me some questions and some thoughts down there in the comment section, and we can see if this is something we want to continue to do. So let's dig into today's video. First off, let's talk about what is a Transcon or Transcontinental flight. Intercontinental means a flight between two continents. Transcontinental means a flight across a single continent. Probably the most famous example would be New York to LA, but in general, you're talking about a flight length of about 2,500 miles and give or take 5 to 6 hours, depending on the direction of travel and the wind and things of that nature. A transcontinental flight is similar in distance, just a little bit shorter than a short intercontinental flight. For instance, Boston to Dublin is about 3,000 miles. So a short transatlantic flight and a long transcontinental US flight are pretty similar in length. Because of this, you can expect a better service level on board than a standard domestic first class type flight. You can expect better amenities, better meals, and a lie flat bed on several airlines. For the 2020 Transcon Challenge, I wanted to specifically sit in all solo lie flat seats or suites on flights that met the above description of a transcontinental flight here in the US. This gave me 4 qualifying airlines and services: American's Flagship product, United's Polaris, Delta One, and JetBlue Mint. I'm going to be judging each of these flights on hard product, soft product, which I've broken down into 3 subcategories, and general airline experience, which I've also broken down into 3 categories. So now we're going to go through each category. I'm going to rank the airlines from lowest to highest in that category. We're going to start off in the hard product category, which really hasn't changed much because of COVID in 2020. So we're going to spend the least amount of time here, but I think it is definitely important. Lowest on the list in this category is going to be Delta. I flew in their A330-200, which is one of their older Delta One international cabin wide-body aircraft. It's a nice seat, reverse herringbone, but it's a little dated, nothing too exciting there for that flight. So they took the bottom in that category. Next up, we have JetBlue. I had booked a solo suite, as I said in the video, and ended up in just one of their regular JetBlue Mint seats. I love the massage feature on that seat. I do enjoy that a lot, but that's really the only super good point that I like about that seat. Next up, and this one was close, is United Polaris. The true window seats on that cabin, the odd rows, are an avgeek dream. You're right by the window. It's very private. It's a very modern product. I really enjoyed flying with United, and that makes them my new favorite business class seat. However, number 1 in this category was not business class. It was American's Flagship first class, which is the only true first class service on this list and available in the US flying domestically. So this is flying in a 1-1 configuration on the American Airlines A321T Transcon. And as I said in the video, this should be on every flyer's to-do list. It's a really special flight. There were some rumors circulating that this plane's being discontinued, but so far American has said they are not removing this plane from their fleet, and I really hope that that holds true. So anyway, you've probably seen all these seats already. You've probably seen reviews on them before. It's not really shocking news to you. So what we really wanted to get into, the idea of the 2020 Transcon Challenge, was the actual service on board the aircraft during the times of COVID here in 2020. So let's dig into the soft product. which I've broken down into several categories. First, and perhaps the one you've been waiting to hear most about, is meals and beverages. So on most flights in the US now, food and beverage service is reduced to an absolute minimum. Some of the things you used to find, take for granted, they're now totally gone or completely rare. Hot towels, hot nuts, hot drinks, and hot meals, as well as anything in glass. Airlines did bring back some of these items, however, to these premium flights, so let's have a look. Bringing up the rear again in this category is going to be Delta Airlines, since they are serving only sealed, shelf-stable snack boxes, the kind of thing you used to buy on board in coach. And in terms of drinks, all you're getting is a bottled water, beer, or wine, no ice, no soft drinks, no other hard drinks, and basically no service at all in economy to speak of. So this is definitely a situation where if you want some food on a Delta Airlines flight, you should plan to bring it on with you. Next, we move on to United. United does give you a hot main meal with metal cutlery in Polaris Business, as well as in their premium economy cabin, which is the only U.S. domestic premium economy currently sold. And they deserve some kudos for that, but the pre-packaged side dishes really brought the overall experience down. And while they do offer a snack basket and a full beverage service, including hot drinks, sodas, ice, beer, wine, and liquor, the other airlines we're about to talk about did go above and beyond what United had on offer here. Next up, and again, the top card in this category was pretty tight, but the runner-up is going to go to American Airlines. Currently, American offers the same hot meal menus to business and first class, and while it's a very solid offering with a printed menu, which is always nice, metal cutlery, and 4 selections to choose from, you get packaged nuts as a starter and a real plate of dessert. It's all on a single meal tray. This would normally resemble a little bit better than their pre-pandemic domestic first class service. It's still a long way from what normally would be served in Flagship first. There's no Sunday cart, no separate plated appetizers, soup, salads. You did get a snack basket on display as well as walk through the cabin. So you really weren't wanting for much. Full drink menu, but only plastic cups. So while American does do a really good service on this route, perhaps part of it is just that I know that under other times it would be a much more elaborate, but perhaps it's because our top build choice here in this category is just that good, and I think that is the case, and that's going to be JetBlue Mint. JetBlue did pretty much walk away with this category because they basically resumed their full meal and drink service in their Mint cabin. And as far as I know at the time of this recording, they're the only airline to have brought back a standard level of service in economy as well, with a full drink cart, snacks, and buy on board at the back of the plane. But we're here to talk about Mint, of course, where similar to American, you are presented with a printed menu and packaged nuts to start, and you do get everything on a single tray. However, Mint's Tapa-style meal selection, where you pick 3 out of 5 choices, really shines here, and it continues to be a great airborne culinary experience. The food quality is really memorable. It definitely gets extra point for still offering ice cream, as well as delicious airborne cappuccinos to go with it. I really had a good time pairing those up in the air for sure. If I had to nitpick one thing, it would be that we were presented with a paper napkin, which wasn't the case on United or American, but that's a tiny thing that really stood out as not befitting the rest of the service quality. Other snacks were available on request, and as a parting gift, you got a huge chocolate cookie from Milk Bar, which really cemented the win easily in this challenge. However, as I mentioned in the review, JetBlue has revised their meal service since I took the flight, and their new soft product, so I hope to get up in the air soon and try that out for you as well. But in short, it seems to be a new wrapper for the same great content you've come to expect from JetBlue and their Mint product. Next up, we're going to talk about service on board from the cabin crew, and sadly, once again, I have to put the lowest prize to Delta, not because the crews were bad, but because the service on board is so limited, there's really almost no interaction for them to have with you at all to speak of. Next up, you've got United. They were perfectly friendly and responsive during the meal service. However, I do have to say that they basically disappeared once they cleared the trays. You really didn't see anybody coming through the cabin after that. And the one time I did ring my call button to ask about a snack and a drink, I got a little bit of a sense that I was inconveniencing the crew by calling them. So I didn't really care for that so much. Next up, we have to go with JetBlue. Again, this is really close. Mint cabin service was very friendly and very thorough throughout. Flight attendants were always coming up and down the cabin looking for drink refills and taking away waste. They were very friendly, very customer oriented, wanted you to have a great time. So I'm going to have to give the win in this category to American Airlines, and that's because they got the little things right. And not only was the service as good as I described above on JetBlue, but there were little extra touches like the now endangered pre-departure beverages, as well as being addressed by name on board in the cabin, and service being done very proactively. I was brought drink refills, new cups of ice, and refills of liquor bottles without ever asking. And anytime I got up to use the lavatory, my seat was neatened up, things were taken away that were no longer needed, and even new things were brought. Like, for instance, if they took away an empty bag of snacks, they placed a new one back at my seat. So really, this was service that made you forget all about the concerns of life for a few precious hours in the air. Next up, our next category is going to be amenities, including bedding. At risk of sounding like a broken record, last place here is going to have to go to the Delta Airlines, which is not providing any amenities kits on any of their domestic flights, and they are providing a very basic set of over-ear headphones and a light bedding kit and pillow for their Delta One cabin flyers only. Next up on my list is going to be United, which also gave out a light bedding kit, some similar low-quality headphones, but do provide a very bare-bones amenities kit, which is going to edge out Delta in this category, but it still lags behind the other two. And next is going to be American Airlines. They receive major points in this category for providing both the light blanket as well as the duvet and 2 pillows, as well as they offer a fairly solid amenities kit and absolutely fantastic Bang & Olufsen noise-canceling headphones. If you don't own your own noise-canceling headphones, this is a really great perk of flying with American Airlines Transcontinental product. But I have to give this one to JetBlue. As I said in my review, it feels a bit like Christmas morning when you fly with Mint, as you're provided with a really nice amenities kit, which can come in a wide variety of fun bags to collect and has practical contents, including some really great, very rewearable socks. The personally signed welcome card from the crew is a nice touch as well, and while their premium headphones on offer are quite disappointing and not noise canceling, they really walk away with this category with their bedding. It's luxuriously soft and comfortable, and even though there's only one blanket and one pillow, they really are just that good, and they cement the win here for JetBlue. I really hope that the new soft product they've launched is comparable, because they're replacing some really excellent stuff. Now we're going to move off the aircraft and on to some broader subjects of the airline experience. Commonly, these types of premium services bring along some special privileges like check-in, expedited security, priority bag delivery and boarding, as well as lounge access. So in this category, JetBlue does not have any lounge, so they're going to be at the bottom by default. Next up, you have United. As I said in my review, I did not realize that United had reopened a club location in Newark that I could have gone to, so I did miss that aspect of the review, but I've looked online at many other people that have stopped by the lounges during these times, and the service really looks very bare bones. So bringing up the runner-up in this category is American Airlines. Under normal circumstances, these flights would give you access to their Flagship international lounges, and the first class would get you into their Flagship dining facility, which I've been to before, and it would have easily won this category. However, these are not usual times, so all the Flagship facilities are closed. So all you get into instead is the Admirals Club, and it's a pretty nice area, but I find the Admirals Club, they're trying a little too hard to get you to spend more money on drinks and food for my liking. So finally, we're going to put Delta Airlines on the board with a win here. Delta does not offer any premium level lounges. However, their sky clubs are open, many of them, and they can be quite nice. In my case, I visited one of their newer clubs here in Seattle, which is big, bright, really modern, a super nice facility. I found there, as well as in several of the other Delta Sky clubs I've visited this year, a good variety of individually packaged food items, some of them fresh prepared, some of them things like cookies and chips, but a lot of good food to be found in the club, good drink menus, and plenty of space to enjoy. So I got to give the win here to Delta. So this is 2020. We are talking about the times of COVID. So let's talk about the precautions here. On a broad base, airlines have worked hard on cleaning up the aircraft, requiring masks, eliminating common touch points like check-in kiosks, as well as providing individual sanitation products. And multiple studies are now out that show that with these precautions and the way air moves through and is HEPA filtered in the airplane cabins, the risk of transmission in the air is as low or lower than many common indoors activities that we're participating in, like shopping for groceries. So all in all, United, American, and JetBlue have rolled out in-airport and onboard PR efforts to showcase what they're doing to keep the aircraft clean, including deep overnight cleanings and common touchpoint cleanings between all flights. It's all pretty similar between these three airlines. It's basically par for the course now in 2020, and I definitely hope that the level of cleaning we're seeing on board this year remains the new normal, as it's always been a pet peeve of mine to find a nasty tray table or storage compartment on a seat. So let's hope that they all get better at keeping these planes clean. But one airline has really gone above and beyond to market itself as the airline that's taking COVID seriously, and that is Delta Airlines. Delta, in my experience, had the most thorough gate area markings and precautions for COVID, and they're really holding firm on boarding from the back to the front of the aircraft, unless the forward cabin is forward of where the economy passengers are going to be boarding. And their strategy continues to be seat blocking. While it's been abandoned in part or on whole by basically every other airline, Delta continues to offer seat blocking on all of their aircraft in all classes of service, except for their Delta One cabin-equipped aircraft where all the seats have direct aisle access and it's not really necessary. Alaska Airlines isn't on this list, but they do get an honorable mention here since they have done some seat blocking available through January 2021. But Delta has gone a step further, and they have already made this policy official through early March of 2021 as of the time of filming this video. So if you're needing to fly in early 2021 and you just want the maximum amount of personal space, you're willing to sacrifice onboard service to get that, Delta wants your business, and they're probably the airline you're going to want to take a look at here in the coming months. So let's move on to the category of customer service. Due to the nature of the very fluid schedules during these times and a lot of cancellations, 3 of my 4 itineraries needed massaging at various points. And as a result of all that, I ended up speaking with all 4 of these airlines' customer service. So let's dig into it. In the last place is going to be United, and by association, their booking partner Aeroplan that I got my itinerary through. And here, due to the final flight of mine from San Francisco to Seattle being canceled, I was automatically rerouted through Chicago on 2 crowded 737s and out of my Polaris seat. When I contacted United, they didn't want to talk to me. They told me I had to talk to Aeroplan, who basically told me that I could have a refund and book whatever was available at the last minute, which was to say basically nothing. So the only saving grace that I had here, the only reason I was able to get this review for you at all, is through the United app. I was able to change my destination airport to Portland and find an itinerary that got me back on my 777 seat. And I just ended up abandoning the final leg up to Portland and made my own plans to get home. Next up on this list is going to be American Airlines. Also had a cancellation on my flight from Seattle down to LA and was automatically rebooked through Phoenix on some plain Jane regular domestic first class services. My first reach out to American resulted in a similar offer that I could cancel and rebook something else, which was not really satisfactory. I was able to call as a status member with American, my status line, and had some specific flights picked out that I saw were available for sale that got me back on board the aircraft by connecting through Phoenix and LA, and was able to get back on my flight. But I am fairly convinced that if I hadn't been able to call in as a status member and have my own itinerary put together, I would have not gotten on board that aircraft. And it's kind of disappointing considering how American charges more in points or money for those seats. It makes those seats harder to obtain, that they would expect you to just walk away from them and get on a regular airplane and be okay with that and not provide you anything back but the offer of a refund. So I was quite disappointed with that. So next on the list is going to be JetBlue. As I mentioned, JetBlue canceled my direct return in Mint, which I had booked well in advance and got myself one of their individually enclosed suites. They did at least put me on another Mint-enabled flight, which put them here in the runner-up position, not due to excellence, but at least due to keeping me in the cabin that I paid for, even though they were not able to get me another suite and I had to settle for a aisle regular seat in their Mint cabin. So that brings me to Delta Airlines, the winner of this category, because number one, they did not cancel any of the flights that I took with them, as well as when I needed to get back from San Francisco to Seattle, I called in with a plan to turn an existing ticket that I had into a changed ticket and pay the difference to get home the next day. And while I was prepared to have to go all through all this multiple times, the agent immediately understood what I was trying to do, had me patched up with a new flight and back off the phone in a couple of minutes. And all I had to do was check in on my app and get on board the plane. So Delta really made it simple, really made it easy, and made me very satisfied with my service experience with Delta Airlines. So with that out of the way, who was the winner of the 2020 Transcon Challenge? So to put all this together, I put together a very simple scoring system. First place is going to get 2 points, second place is going to get 1 point, third place a half a point, and no points for fourth place. This isn't super serious, just gives me a quick way to compare this for you. Tabulating the results, they're going to be up on the screen here by magic. If you're taking a look at them, in last place is going to go to United Airlines. They did get points of some sort on all but one category, but they really just didn't stand out in any way in any single category enough to bring up their points total. So they bring up the rear with 4 points. Started off slow, but came on strong in the end. You have Delta Airlines with 6 points. If onboard experience is what you want, Delta's not here to impress, but if you value COVID precautions, a great ground experience, and excellent customer service, you'll still find it with Delta. Our top two were very tight, and you have JetBlue Mint, the runner-up, with 7.5 points, and this was the best business class product that I experienced in 2020. But the winner here is going to go to first class, and that's American Airlines Flagship First. As well they should, as the only U.S. carrier to offer a true first-class product. This is a truly unique aviation product paired with service that made you forget about all the troubles of 2020 for a few short hours and did enough to win the 2020 Transcon Challenge. So what did you think? Do you agree with my results? Let me know down below. Hope you enjoyed coming along, watching all 4 of these videos and today's wrap-up. Hope you get a chance to fly these flights and some more exciting things in 2021. I look forward to seeing what comes up and is available to fly in 2021, bringing you along for many new exciting videos. And hope you've enjoyed all the content I've been able to put out this year in 2020. Next week we'll have a quick summary of the whole year and go through just some general fun ideas that I have. If you do like this concept, the studio concept, please do let me know below as well. And we'll go through some other ideas here. Been excited to do something like this, so hopefully you enjoy it as well. But in the meantime, we will see you on the next flight. Bill here with Gilbert Travels. Thank you so much.